So, for everybody that will be listening to this later, my name is Daniel Zod. I'm the Assistant Director of Member Engagement and Regional Initiatives. Kimberly, I'll be your main contact for pretty much anything that you need with the drive-in.
Great.
I'll be the person that helps, and we'll walk through all of the different things that we do. But if there's any questions you have, and honestly, even if I'm not the one that does that, you can always reach out to me, and I will be able to get those answered. So today we're going to cover a little bit about general event planning, the tools that we have available for you, the event page creation on naspa.org, the online registration system, our call for programs tool, the applications nominations portal, and our on-site staff support that's available. And at any point, Kimberly, feel free to stop me, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay.
So I'll send you, and I know Neil sent some, but I'll send you some additional documents if I haven't sent them, our event planning guide that we have set up. So it talks a little bit about the timeline for your event, making sure that you've connected with your regional director and regional treasurer so that they know that the event is happening, and that how money will be coded or any expenses that need to be getting paid. Your regional treasurer will be the one that helps with that whole process. So anytime there's any bills or anything that comes through, or if you have to cut some checks, your regional treasurer has all of the forms. They're the ones that are going to help you with that. We also have two sets of technology that are available for you in your planning. One is Trello, and the other one is Board Effect, and I'll show you both afterwards. But NASPA pays for these nationally, so they're accessible to all of our regional and state programs for free.
Great.
Trello, for me, if you haven't used it before, is more of a day-to-day management system. It's kind of like a virtual Post-it kind of system where you can move stuff around and assign people to it, whereas Board Effect is more of an archival document kind of place. So at the end of the drive-in, you'll want to put in all of your documents into Board Effect because that's accessible by staff. And it allows us to move information over year to year should this whole committee decide to win the lottery and leave. And then these training calls we can set up whenever needed. So obviously setting them up with you, and then working, if there's other people that want a kind of refresher later on, I'm happy to jump on and do another quick call with them. So the event can live on naspa.org. That will be set up with your regional IT coordinator. I am the backup for the regional IT coordinator should anything need to be changed and they say, oh, I'm going on vacation, I won't be around, or can you help make some changes if I'm stuck? But your regional IT coordinator is the one that's you're going to want to talk to for setup of the website. And the good thing about that is it'll live on naspa.org, so a lot of people will be able to find it. It's your one link that you'll want to use for advertising because everything will live on there.
Great.
And there's a form that you need to fill out for the IT coordinator that I'll make sure you get in case you haven't received it already. And it usually, we say about 2 weeks turnaround time from submitting the form to the page going live, which gives you a little bit of time to go back and forth and make edits. The online registration, and we'll go through this in a little bit more detail in a minute, but any events that involve funds that are related to NASPA have to go through systems that we manage. The registration system is linked to the online event page, and then there's about a 2-week turnaround from the initial conversation, so from here and filling out the form to when registration will be live. The piece here is to note is that there are two differences. You have your event page where most of your information is going to live, and then your registration page that is just registration. So sometimes there's confusion either from attendees saying, oh, I can't find something, I'm looking on this page. It's always good to be very specific with them and ask them, are you looking at the event page with everything, or are you in the registration page where you have to log in and it's just showing you rates? Call for programs. So this is basically it's a NASPA branded Google form. So we have the opportunity to use this for managing your call for programs. Are you doing a call for programs or an invited session?
I will probably do a call for programs. So we are really far out. So
yes.
I'm more like summer 2019.
Perfect. I'm more than happy to have this this conversation as early, and I told that to Neil, and when he reached out, I'm like, yes, the earlier the better. So this tool, we can really set up in any way that you'd like. As you see on the screen on the left side, there's a pretty hefty space that we have available for content. If you want to talk about what the the theme is or any information that people should know before submitting programs. And then the actual form itself has 5 question options. So you see here on the screen, there's a short text response. We have a long text response. There is a radio button option, which is multiple options with only one selection. A checklist option, multiple options with multiple selections. And then one that we don't use as often for call for programs, but is available, is a file upload. So if you want someone to upload their resume or upload a previous presentation that's similar to what they want to present, you have the opportunity to do that.
Cool.
Same here is a 2-week turnaround time just between filling out the form and getting it live. We also use the same system for applications nomination. So if you want to do any kind of, and the example here is, we have a Region 1 does a new professional mentor institute. So if you want to do that, this can be used for awards. It can be used for scholarships. We've had some regions that have done it to offer scholarships, and it's just how they track the people that are coming into the system. So it is available for more than just call for programs. If you're thinking of, oh, I want to track information, we have a maybe an offsite event that we want people to attend, and we just need an RSVP. This can be it can be very minimal, down to just name, email, and phone number. So just think about that as you're thinking about how you want to track or what you're adding. The CFP is available for more than just the call for programs aspect. Okay. And then on-site staff support, we usually suggest for any events that are over 250 attendees to send Naspa staff. If Naspa staff is not needed on site, we provide all of the same support as if we were there. We'll just walk you through the system for collecting balance dues and anything else that you'll need from there. Okay. Perfect. So let me show you a little bit more detail, some of these pieces. So this is our registration form. The registration form has general information at the beginning of who does what. So registration chair. And are you everyone on the committee, or do you have a committee that's going to get split up?
It's just me for now.
Just you.
I have a few people that I work with who've expressed interest and are members of NASPA.
Okay.
So we actually have a date and a location officially set. I'm probably going to ask them to help out. And I specifically thought of somebody to work with programs, registration, and sponsors. That's all I'd gotten in my brain.
I think okay. Hey, this is Neil. I jumped on late, a couple of minutes late, but I didn't want to interrupt. But I also have somebody here, Furman, who helped when she was at with in-state. She said she'd be happy to be a program reviewer or things like that too. So.
Great.
Awesome. Hey, Neil, how's it going? So here within registration, so until you find your other people, there's some descriptions on who does what and how this work has to happen. And then the actual form is set up over here. So we'll just need this general information, conference theme, location, the venue, start date, end date. All of this is what we need in the system to build it. We can put a conference Twitter hashtag. Obviously, that won't stop us from building the website. Early bird registration deadline, regular registration, and late registration. So as you're setting this up, the usual rule of thumb, if you do want to have different registration rates, is to start backwards from the conference. So your conference date, I usually go 2 weeks back, is the late registration period. And then you'll want to have regular registration, can be open from 2 weeks to almost 2 months. And then early bird registration should be about 2 weeks to a month before that. So depending on how far out you want to go, that's usually the rule of thumb for setting up your registration deadlines. Registration administration, so letting us know when you want registration to open, if there is going to be a cap, what the number is, when you want online registration to close. So typically if an event is on a Friday, we close online registration the Tuesday before. That allows us to close registration and then provide you Wednesday or Thursday Wednesday a final report that gives you time between Wednesday and Thursday to print name badges. If you would like on-site registration, as I said, we'll help you with the balance dues process, but sometimes there's people that come on-site and we can walk you through the on-site registration processes, obviously, as we get closer to the conference, but that is available. If you are going to have any VIPs, speakers, presenters, committee members, whoever might need a complimentary registration, just let us know. You can tell us how many discounts you want created, and then the discounts can either be a percentage, so it can be a 100% discount, a 50% discount, or a dollar amount. You know, I want to give these students $20 off, or these professionals $50 off.
Hello?
Oh, hold on. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now. I don't know if that's me or y'all.
No, it was me. I got a message that my internet connection was unstable. So let me speak up if it comes through again. Were you able to hear about the complimentary registrations?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Hello?
Hello? We can hear you.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to switch my audio to phone, just in case. That way I can at least keep chatting with you all. One second. All righty, you all hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm on my phone, so even if the video might cut out, you should hopefully still be able to hear me. So were you able to hear the part about the complimentary registrations?
Yes.
Okay, so when we move into primary registration fees, so we do have 4 primary registrations that we use. So obviously member, non-member, student member, student non-member. If there are any other associations that you're working with locally or any other organizations, we can create registration types for them. You just have to let us know if they will receive the same primary registration fees, like if it's going to be the same as if they were a Naspa member. It's easy for us to set that up. In this area, you'll see there's a few little comments. Any of these comments, in case you can't see them, as you see on the screen that they get cut out, they're all available at the end of the document. And what these do is it just gives you a little bit of guidelines on pricing, kind of depending on what your price is going to be. Here's a guide of like between this amount and this amount, you should add an extra $20 to $50 for non-member rates. You'll also see on here the dates, just again, including the dates. It's a check for me to look at the dates that are listed under here and make sure that they match the dates that you listed above here. Secondary conference registration fees, if you want to do pre-conferences or if you have any meals where people may be able to add additional tickets, you just put them on here. If not, feel free to leave it blank. Registration demographic questions. Most of this, and if I update this form, you don't have to worry about this first section anymore. Our system, we recently updated it, and this actually gets pulled automatically from member profiles. So their job title, institution, member, their professional level, disability or dietary accommodation, even the permission to use photos, all of that now comes through from their profile directly. What we do have available here are event-specific questions. So if you'd like to know who your first-time attendees are, if you're looking for volunteers on site for the conference, if you're going to have a room block at a hotel, you're able to ask this question. Just to get an idea beforehand. If not, feel free to delete the question. If there's other questions that you would like to ask, you can also include that. We have had some conferences use this section as a sort of pre-assessment. So they've asked, you know, what are you looking to learn, or why are you interested in this conference, and have been able to connect that to a post-assessment to make sure that they got what they were looking for at the event. For meals that are included with the conference registration, if you're offering breakfast, lunch, or dinner, it's good to put the information on here, and then I can give you meal counts with the registration reports. So you just need to know the name of the meal, the date and the start and end time, so we can put that into the system. And the last piece here is confirmation email. So anything that shows up in red is what we need for updating, and then everyone who signs up gets a confirmation email with this information. Like I said, all of the notes that are in the document are available down here, just in case you can't see them. And that is it for registration. Any general questions?
Nope.
And then the only the only other piece to share is, so as far as getting registration reports, once registration is set up and live, we'll do every Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday morning, I send reports on where you're at with registration. And those will be full demographic info, anything that's in here. Once you hit at least 20 registrants, so up to 20 registrants, I'll just send you a quick number. You're at 10, you're at 15. Once we hit 20, you'll get a full registration report.
Daniel, you mentioned some state drive-ins have used that for pre-assessment. We haven't talked about it at all for our conference, but if you do you have examples of those that you can forward to us, just so we could see?
Yeah, I can send you some of the other regional conferences and what questions they've asked, so you can see what assessment options are available. But yeah, they were able to tie it into, it's not too many, maybe 2 or 3 questions that they were able to tie into some of their objectives for the conference to make sure. Sometimes it was linked to first-time attendees, so it's like if they answered yes to being a first-time attendee, they asked them what they were hoping to get out of the conference specifically as a first-time attendee, so like networking, educational opportunities, different things like that. But I'll send you some options. Next is our call for programs guide. This is pretty robust. It's a 23-page document. But what it does is it goes through, so here in this intro section, you'll see the to-do list. This to-do list is actually broken out throughout the entire document. So you'll see defining a timeline, setting up when you want to do this. These timelines and most of these documents are set around our regional annual conferences. So you may not need 7 months before the conference as you set up your timeline to look for when call for programs needs to be open. You might be able to obviously do this much closer to the conference, but just something to see as an example on there. Creating the regional conference program proposal. So there are templates available through here. There's some more I can send you. I can send you some state, other state drive-ins so you can see what theirs look like. But just some information to keep on here. And you'll see a lot of information on confirmation emails or templates. There's actually, similar to the registration document, there's an appendix in this document that has all of the information that you're going to need, basically written out. So you'll see here in the appendix, it's all set up. You just have to update the text. Then you send that over to us, and we either send out the email for you or we submit the information for you. But it's all pre-written out here for you. You're able to edit as needed, but it's all set. This will walk you through the opening the call for programs, posting a call for reviewers, which you'll do with your regional volunteer coordinator, accepting, rejecting programs, letting presenters know that they've been confirmed, scheduling the programs, notifying them of date and time, and even post-conference email thank yous. So it is a very robust document. I highly suggest reading through it. And then this is easy to set up a follow-up call specifically on this once you have that area set. Those are probably the 2 main things to look over with you all. And I can obviously answer any other questions that you might have. I know you're fairly early out in the process. Do you have an idea of, I know you said summer 2019, of when or where you want to do it?
Yeah, so we are thinking sometime in May, June 2019, and we're hoping to host it at, if we can, at a college campus, specifically the College of Charleston, if they'd be willing. I went to a regional drive-in there a few years ago for the Southeastern College Learning Center Association. I forget what the acronym is, it's Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and they hosted it at the College of Charleston, so it's a quick and easy drive. Everyone loves Charleston, and the treasurer for the association works in my office, so I've been bugging him. I'm like, did you have to pay for that? And he doesn't that they had to pay for the space. So
okay, yeah. Sometimes the institution might actually donate it.
Yeah. So I was gonna see if we could swing that again with just a different association. So we would just have to pay for things, or attendees would just need to pay for things such as meals and hotel if they stay overnight. But once again, that's if they're willing. So we'll have to look at backup locations otherwise. But
yeah, I think the only piece to be aware with those dates is ensuring the regional annual conference to make sure, because it's usually in June. So make sure that it's not too close to that. And I don't know where they're going to be located by 2019.
Okay.
So checking in with either Anthony now or Helen Grace after March, just to make sure that they're aware that you're going to want to plan around that, so they can tell you where they're thinking.
Yeah, we also have a few other constraints. So I'm at the University of South Carolina, and we host our own on-campus professional development conference in May. That's completely free. It's won like a Naspa award and all this stuff. It's like, well, we don't want to do it the same week as that because all the staff from USC will be attending that. We also have a huge training for all the people that teach our University 101 program the next week. And then the Naspa Region 3 drive-in or summer symposium and anything any other institution is doing. So it's going to be fun to pick a time period.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if we should go back and look at April, but if that would be easier to get grad students at, but I'm not sure. You then run into,
I can imagine.
Is a College Charleston or a school, how much of their space is being used if it's a student union. So I'm not 100% sure on when the best date's going to be. But my plan is just to reach out to the College of Charleston and see if they're willing and maybe let them pick the date based on their schedule. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, it's something obviously to keep in mind.
So if we want to set up a drive-in committee to help me with this, is that something that we would then post through Volunteer Central?
You can. Yeah, you can definitely open it up to, it doesn't have to be, no. If you want to hand select your committee, that's fine. I think as you're looking, if you're like, oh, I don't have someone for this area and it might be good to see who else is in the space that's interested, you can always do that, but you don't have to do it by Volunteer Central.
Just wanted to check on that. Do you have any tips or suggestions on getting sponsors for conferences?
So work with I'm blanking on their name, but the region has a regional sponsorship person that you can work with. And they can talk to you a little bit about who the region is working with regularly for annual conferences, just reaching out to see what opportunities are out there. So currently Adam Peck, and he is Stephen F. Austin State University. So Adam Peck is your current corporate sponsorship liaison. Vicky Dobiansky was your previous corporate sponsorship liaison, and she's someone that worked on the Region 3 Summer Symposium this past year. So she might have some ideas for sponsors that would be interesting for you to work with. But I'd reach out to the regional board and just ask if there's any insights or people that are interested in connecting with. And that's usually the best place to start. Secondary is starting with any of the sponsors or vendors that are on campus for either the host campus or wherever your campuses are. I know there's a little bit of power that some of our board members were able to leverage with some of the organizations they worked with or the sponsors they worked with, so like Aramark or Maxian or different groups like that, because they're like, well, our board is made up of 30 plus people. You're on 25-ish of our campuses. Can you please support this event? And they, realized that was important for them to do.
So I just emailed you the Adam's email address, so it might be worthwhile that we could set up a time to talk to him too. I know when I talked to Adam, one of the things he was trying to do this year as part of his role was basically create a form for vendors to support Naspa Region 3 that then you could that would just be one form, but then it would list all the different state drive-ins that they could also sponsor. So he was trying to consolidate that. So we could talk to him about where he's at with that, and if we might be able to piggyback with what he's developing. Or the other option we can think about too is if you're looking for volunteers. I know Jason was the person who did all sponsorship for Saxa and Naspa when they were here in Greenville. So we could always see if he'd be willing to reprise that role.
Okay. Yeah, he does that for Saxa every year. I think he's been suckered into it, whether he wants to or not. So he'd be a great one to reach out to as well. Yeah, I just would like to make it as cost effective as possible for people to attend. That's what I hear a lot from the grad students that I work with, is just the cost of things. And some of the young professionals, there's an ongoing conversation about what things cost. And so that's very prevalent in my mind as I think about this.
But yeah, those are going to be your best resources for any sponsorship stuff. I think the earlier you can start with them, the better, because some of the sponsorship cycles may be calendar years, they may be academic years, and getting into their requests early is helpful so that they know how to plan out. And sometimes they have limited budgets on what they're actually able to use for sponsorship funds. So it's something to work with them and talk to them about.
Okay. Great.
Mm-hmm. And then just so as you all know, so this system that we're using right now, Zoom, the region has a Zoom account. So as you set up meetings or calls, you're able to use that with them. You just have to let them know when you want to use it, and then they can set it up for you. You can have your conference calls through systems like this.
Great.
And I will pull up. Let me show you what Trello looks like. Board effects. So this is Trello. Like I said, this is something that we offer for free if you would like to use it. And this, as you look at it this way, this is the staff view, so you may not have as many boards, but this is a Trello board, the general overall piece. Within each board, you have lists, which are vertical, and then within each list, you have cards, which are these smaller pieces. What's great for me, at least within the system, this is a regional template that we have created for you all, so it's easy for us to copy and give access to you, and then you can add members as you'd like. But it has all of the pieces that we thought were important. So from infrastructure, registration, technology, sponsors, call for programs, all of the information we thought would be important for you to use, and then what the central office has to do. What's nice about the system, you can click into a little card. You can see I have been assigned to this card. I can show other people to assign to the card. There's an opportunity to use a label, so you can set up different labels of what they're supposed to be. You have checklists that you can add on here. So for people to start doing them, due dates, you can upload attachments. It's pretty intuitive, fun little system. For me, it's much easier in day-to-day management of work, whereas we have Board Effect, which is used by the regional advisory boards and some of the general boards. So this, to me, I use Board Effect a lot more as an archival document kind of space. So you're able to have your home, you can list some of your events, you can collaborate with people. The big piece with here is sharing files. So this is our 2018 Region 2 conference. Has all of their information on here, and they upload everything here. Instead of using a Google Drive, they're able to kind of have all this available for them. You are open to having both. Depends on how you want to use them. Trello is available and Board Effect are available for free. You just have to let me know if you want to try them out, and I can create them for you, and you can test them out with your committee. Some committees have been very active in Trello. Some committees have been very active in Board Effect. 2017 Western Regional Conference was very active in here. So they put all of their meeting agendas. They had opportunities for people to add all of their, so these are all of their pre-conferences that they added. You can see people have been kind of tagged in different areas. So it's available for you all if you'd like to use it.
Cool, that looks really helpful.
Yeah, it's fun. It's also, you can create free boards. So if you like it and you're like, this is amazing, we have a lot of people we use this, started using it about 3 or 4 years ago, and that's actually how our annual conference planner works to plan annual conference for Naspa. So that's why we started using it in the office. But if yeah.
I have a question. Have you, so we're just doing a drive-in for the state, not doing a regional conference. Is there a state drive-in that you can think of that's been really successful year after year?
So in your region, you have Alabama and Florida that both hosted state drive-ins. Florida is yearly, Alabama's every other year, and it will be taking place in 2018. I'm happy to connect you, or Neil, if you know the state directors there as well. They've done a really good job in planning and managing those conferences. Alabama should be coming up, I think at the end of this month, and Florida usually takes place in October. But the Florida drive-in usually gets 200 to 300 people, and Alabama, I think, is in the 150 to 200 people.
Is there anything that jumps out from having seen those that have made them really successful?
I think the community building that they do. So the Florida drive-in, at least I know, has a very strong Florida state board, and it's spread out throughout the state, and that helps make sure that people are very connected to Naspa, to the region, but also very connected to the state. So there's a separate state identity. And what helps with that is the conference moves across the state. So you don't, if you're in Tallahassee and the conference is in Miami, just wait a year and might be closer to home. I think some of the pieces are, using the campus is really good. The campus community is very supportive. It always helps having that, especially if you're in a central space where there might be multiple campuses, and how you reach out and connect to some of those schools. The Florida drive-in is a 2-day drive-in. So day one is actually an undergraduate symposium. And they welcome and connect with undergrads, and a lot of the focus is on undergrads. So you can decide to present just for the undergrad symposium. That's usually a lot more graduate students and new professionals that present there. And then the actual Florida drive-in is more varied on who presents, but it's an opportunity to engage. Some of the undergrads will come to both. Some of them will only come to the undergrad symposium. They do a case study competition that's pretty popular. And the winners of the case study get free conference registrations, either for the Florida drive-in or for Naspa, or for the Region 3 drive-in. The social component of it also helps with the community. People get excited every year. They do a bingo at the drive-in, and it brings people around. But I'd say however you can build community before to get people excited about the state identity, it helps get them excited for the conference.
Thanks. That's really helpful.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, as you're getting ready for it, let me know. I'm happy to make some connections. And if there's obviously a lot more that they know as state conference chairs that they could share some insights into.
Okay. Those are all the questions I had.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I know we're still way ahead of the curve, which makes me very excited in planning. But I'll send this recording so that you have it. And let me know when you're ready for some of the documents, if you want to start setting those up, or if you have any questions about committee setup and doing things in Volunteer Central. I'm also happy to help with any of that.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Well, both of y'all have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.